protect your soul. We'll get started soon. Hey, welcome, Race. Welcome. Welcome, guests, soldiers, tribesmen. We're live. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, Jim. It's time. Welcome to your solution. Guests, tribesmen, soldiers. This is our time to stop and mastermind and to take action on what you must. 30 to 45 minutes. Get in, turn off distractions, please. Make sure your seatbelt is on nice and tight. Lock the door and get on the floor. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. Please take notes. It may be a life or death difference for you. Interact, ask, suggest, share. Come on the camera, Sam, if you dare. Anyhow, I want to welcome all of you guys here. We are going to be, I've got the, I did. Jim might want to come on the broadcast later on in a little bit here, or anybody else for that matter. If you're here and you want to come on the broadcast, you're welcome to do that. We're broadcasting live via Facebook. We're broadcasting LinkedIn. And we're doing YouTube. So I'm humbled. I'm very grateful to be here. It is Sunday. Hopefully you've had a restful day. You know, we're preparing for Monday, Tuesday, right? We're going to discuss this topic a little bit. If you have a question, please ask. I'll do my best to interact with you if you'll interact with me. I'm going to say that again. If you have a question you want to ask, if you interact with me, and it's not easy to provide just a simple solution, right? We all know this, but I will do my best to provide your solution. You interact with me, I'll interact with you, right? We'll support each other here on the broadcast. 30 to 45 minutes is going to go by very quickly. So focus. Listening, that's the topic. I have a few questions that I'm going to ask in a little bit here. I do have some questions that I'm just going to ask. I don't know if I really want to talk about give the answers to those questions, but I want to present those questions to you on the other side for you to answer them, because you're taking notes today, right? You're taking notes today. Remember I said earlier, it could be a matter of a life and death difference. Take notes. Please. Anyhow, Hamill, welcome. All right, Hamill, welcome. Let me see. Sorry, I gambled and lost my money for the month again. Ouch. If you have a question, I hope everyone is gambling free and feeling good tonight. I got to leave in a little bit, so I'm excited, man. Are you guys excited for Monday? If you're not, by the time you leave this broadcast, you're going to be excited. You know why? Because gambling is a lie. Any form. Listen, any form of gambling, it doesn't matter if it's in the casino or if it's a poker game at somebody's house that could end up violently. You know what I mean? It's a gamble. It's a lie. It's a lie. You can't believe the lie. Get free. Anyhow, Emily, welcome. And Jim and Race. And there's a few other people that have come on. And so if you have a question for me, Let me see. Jim has a question, and we have a proverb. What should be listening to? Our feelings, our own self-talk, our thoughts. Well, here's here's uh here's a question to this, and we'll get you on the screen later on in a little bit here. We've got about 30 to 45 minutes. Can you name at least three focus thieves? Can you name at least three, if not two, focus robbers, focus thieves, focus stealers? Can you name? It has to do with this question that Jim is asking also. What should we be listening to? Our feelings, our own self-talk, our thoughts. Can you name at least two thieves that you could refer to as focus enemies? Anyways, share, write it down. Somebody's going to win $1 million on this broadcast tonight. I know I think I've had a few too many today of these. The Red Bulls, man, they're good. I'm telling you. At least they're keeping me out of the gambling casino. So don't bust my chops. Anyhow, I got to read the proverb. Shout out to Facebook. Shout out to LinkedIn. Shout out to YouTube. All right. So Hamill, let me see. There we go. Ray says, I'm excited. We're going to get Jim. Jim's got some information on there. I see that he posted. So we're going to look at that. What's going on, man? What's going on, Hamill? Why did you do it again for the month? Why? Right? Actually, I'm sorry. I shouldn't ask why. What is moving you? What is it that is doing this? Is it a friend? Are you having personal problems? Is there something else going on that's making you go to do this thing for the month? We have to come to this conclusion. We have to figure this thing out. You can't afford to keep going down this road. You're losing too much. It's a drain. You know what happens when you drain your car battery? Have you ever had a car where you go to start the vehicle and the battery's gone? It's gone. It's done. No battery. What happens? It's okay if you're stuck in your garage. But if you're out in the wilderness, 200 miles away from home, and you lose your battery, why am I talking about a car? Well, our lives are like a car, right? We're like a battery. If we're not careful, we drain the energy and then we're done. We can't go anywhere. We're stuck. What do you do? What good is a car if you can't go anywhere? Really, right? I mean, yeah, I got a car, man. I got nice wheels. It's got a big engine. Does it run? No, it doesn't run. It just sits there, in my backyard. I just look at it. It's a nice car, though. Really, we don't want to come over and see it? Now, I'm going to go drive my car. So, again, I'm not making fun of this, but again, figure out where is this going? Where I gambled and lost my money for the month again. We have to figure it out. Hopefully you can get some solutions, at least something going in the right direction on this broadcast tonight. Hopefully, man. I don't know. I hope. So, Jim, let me see. Oh, there we go. I feel like my enemy is on my mind. Exactly. Hopefully you've learned that here. You've learned well. I can't have peace if I continue. Exactly. Think about what you're going to have, right? Think about what you're going to have. If you continue down the road you're on. If you continue down this road 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, what are you going to get out of it? Use your mind right now. Let's get creative, man. you know, we got to break through all the stuff. We're just, listen, we've got family, we've got friends, we've got business, we've got coworkers, we've got the world, all these problems, and it's all coming down on us in different ways. And we have, that's why I said this. Come on, get in, put your seatbelt, make sure your seatbelt is strapped, and get rid of the distractions so that we can at least focus and gain some momentum. Get something out of this podcast to go forward, to be better, to be happier, to be stronger, so that you're not believing the lie. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again. Gambling is a lie, especially if it's a problem for you. If gambling is a problem for you, it is a big, fat lie. It's tall. It's not thin. It's not little. It's big. And guess what? They say that the bigger they are, right, the faster they can fall. I just made that up. Anyhow, that's the way I believe today. So if you're with me, we're in it together. We're going to knock this thing. We're going to knock it. We're going to believe. Yes, yes, right? It's possible. It is possible. We have to unbelieve the lie. So anyhow, I hope that this is helping you a little bit, Hamill. Like I said, reach out to me right there, man. Please join SciTech right there. See it where my finger is following the line right there, right there, right there. See it right there going across the screen, right there. Join SciTech. Send me an email. Ask me a question and say, Santos, you know what? I want your support. I'll support you if you're going to support yourself. But if you're not going to support yourself, you're not going to request my support. I can tell you that right now. Are we excited? Of course I'm excited. Why am I excited? Because I've got so many problems in front of me. That's why I'm excited. And I must find the solution. And I must find the way. Just like you, you're loaded with problems. Believe me, you've got challenges left and right. And you must also find your step, your solution, your forward step, your plan. Step number one. Anyways, getting back to Jim. I'm losing my focus here. All right. So Jim, we're going to go back. Hey, I'm here. Like I said, it's all the way freedom for me. And because I hate the lie, and people are being, even young kids, man, young kids are being devastated by this gambling stuff that's going on. The marketing, the casino, the games, all of the money. It's all brainwashing young people. And I see it all the time. I see the hurt. I see the pain. I feel it. I see people bleeding. I can literally see people like bleeding, like red blood. They're bleeding. Why? Because, man, they're losing thousands in the casino. They're hitting the ATM. They've already crashed their checking account. The credit cards are just on the brink of bankruptcy. That's bleeding. I've seen it. I've experienced it myself. And I'm going to do my best. I know I'm excited today. Been drinking too much of these. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to do my best to support you, because gambling is a lie and you can overcome it. Yes, you can. You can break free if you want it. If you want it. If you want it. There's my blow. Anyhow. So Emily says, let me see, we got a proverb. Is it wrong to take your spouse to the casino just to make them happy? Where can that go? Where can that go? That's the thing. You got to see. The proverb says the wise man sees ahead and the trouble, and he hides himself. We talked about three enemy, right? Can you name at least three focus thieves? Well, Emily, you have to really think about that. If you and your spouse are in it together, or he's in it with you, or you're not in it, then you have to decide for yourself ultimately. We compare ourselves even to our own spouses sometimes, and it's just disaster. Or to anybody, comparison. So my advice, what would I do in this situation? I would listen to myself and do exactly what I must do. That's what I would do. I don't know if that answers your question. Um, but let's get to Jim. Let me see. My husband says to keep the peace. Hey, there's Jim. We're gonna bring Jim on here in a minute. Hang on there, Jim. We're gonna discuss these three negative. Uh, I gotta bring. I gotta read the proverb, if you will. Okay, we are talking about focus. I've seen people come on and leave, so that's fine. To me, it doesn't matter. I'm speaking to me. I'm motivating. I'm inspiring myself to keep going because let me tell you something. This journey that we're on, to me, it seems like it's just getting darker. It seems to me like this journey that we're on is getting darker. It's getting darker. Uh, that's what it appears to me. So if it's getting darker, for me, I have to bring more light. Somehow, some way, geographically, scientifically, magically, I have to bring in more light into my life, into my thinking, into my spirit. That's what helps my focus is bringing in more light instead of bringing in all this other stuff that we bring in sometimes not even thinking about it. But then sometimes we do know what we're doing wrong. And we say, yeah, come on in anyways. Right now, it won't hurt me. But later on, whoo, you're going to get a swift kick in the butt and you're going to feel it. And that's how we are, right? We're like instant gratification. We got to have it right. I got to have it now. Do it now. Anyhow, Jen, you mentioned three of those. Let me see. Let's get back there. Oh, I got to read. I'm going to let you go ahead and speak on that for a minute. Share. I got to read the proverb. Where you at, man? I'm trying to find your statement that you made earlier.
Yeah, hey Santos. Yeah, I think it's something about fear, comfort zone,
Where did you do? Yeah.
and
Oh, here it is. The thieves.
yeah, I
Of
should
course,
say
there's many of them.
self-talk.
What's
Yeah,
that?
yeah, fear, comfort zone, and negative self-talk. I mean, I think fear and comfort zone can kind of go together. I mean, I have to emphasize again that we're all emotional beings, and emotions are the major drivers of the force that makes us do what we do. It's these
Yeah.
feelings that we get inside, whether it be
Yeah.
excitement, enthusiasm, or, just outright panic, run away, and we're all trying to cope. We're all trying to, you know,
Yeah.
like finding peace, I think I made a comment with Emily. She talked about, what happens if, you go with the spouse to the casino or something like that. And I think about like, we all want peace, with one another and people. We don't want conflict. I don't think most of us don't want conflict. And sometimes we acquiesce, right? We give in, we try to be people pleasers. It's like
Yeah.
because we don't want that person to feel bad or angry or sad, and that makes us feel bad. And we don't want to feel bad. So I'm afraid of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, do the easy thing and that could be, you know, giving a drunk a drink, taking the person to the casino and having them spend a bunch of money that they shouldn't, you know, giving, the opportunity for people to just do, harmful things just to keep the peace because I don't want to have negativity in my life. I don't want conflict. Okay. Sometimes we don't want conflict in our own lives, right? So we try to take the easy way, right? The most comfortable way. Of course, sometimes the most comfortable way is not the best solution, right? I mean, that's why I say the comfort zone. The comfort zone, this fear, emotions, they really draw our focus away if we let it. I mean, you know, and it's important to have like a focus. What are we trying to focus on, I mean, I think we
Yeah.
talked about that before. What is our goal? What's our goal? We got to go and be laser focused on what we intend to do, because then, if we lose focus, these things kind of drag us down to the comfort zone, to the safe place, um,
Yeah.
that's just bring us down into the gutter again.
It's an enemy.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't I don't mean to judge people that are not focused, but honestly, I don't want to be around people like that. It doesn't help me any. Their energy, it basically kind of, you pick up on people's energy, and it's really sad. It's really sad. But we have to, again, the more that we identify these things, gambling isn't really the enemy. I don't think it's the enemy. I think what's behind, what's really underneath, what's part of the hidden, the iceberg. What are those enemies? What is the focus? Well, the focus is to make sure that we use our finances effectively. Well, gambling is a thief, right? Is a robber. But what is behind all of that? It's not just casinos robbing me. There's a lot more behind it. The more we identify these thieves, I believe, the more that we identify these focus thieves, and we get familiar with them, understand them, understand. I remember I was listening to Napoleon Hill one time, and he talked about he was speaking about trouble or depression. No, I believe he was speaking about depression as if it was an individual, and he mentioned that individual lurking around the corner and him inviting it. Come on, come this way. I believe he was talking about depression. He was talking about something that would be a distraction to him. And he said that he would invite it into his whatever it was he was doing, and he'd grind it and he'd turn it into grits, like grits. So every time it came around or it showed it reared its ugly head, it was reminded that he was going to turn it into grits. The imagination that Napoleon Hill had going on back there was pretty incredible. If you read the book, he's a little bit far out. Some of the stuff I don't agree with, but when it comes to the imagination and creativity and all of these things, we have the ability within ourselves to really, really, we do to be able to focus if we truly want to. If we truly, truly want to, we can do these things. Um, Let me read the proverb real quick here. I believe I had a proverb that I was going to read, and First Thessalonians 5:11 here, um, and it says, "Geez, did I get this the right one?" Or Second Thessalonians 5:11. Let me see. I think it's second. Here it is. Um, Wherefore comfort yourselves together and edify one another. I like that. Edify one another, even as also you need. Of course, this is spiritual in nature. Bible's talking about edify spiritual and speak about things that have to do with religion in that sense. I'm not talking about going to church. I'm not talking about adapting this. I just read the Bible, I read the Proverbs, and I believe and trust in God. In this dark world, that's my firm foundation. He gives me the ability to do what I do. Um, and I'm truly humbled. I'm privileged, and I'm blessed by it. I'm excited. Obviously, you guys can tell I'm a little excited tonight. I've had a few. No, I'm just kidding. It's not the Red Bull. It's an optimistic future that you create for yourself in this dark world, because it is dark. So, what does Jim say?
Yeah, I mean, uh, I was thinking about, you know, if we have a focus, you know, something noble, you know, we have to take action. So we have an idea and we have to take action. But there's a bridge that takes us from that thought into action. You know what I mean?
The
And
bridge.
man, yeah, that bridge. And I'm thinking that it's very, very important to analyze. What is that what is that bridge? What will allow us to cross? It's almost like there's a code that gives us the leap to move from thought to action.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't
Mhm.
know what that code is. You know, it could be fear, right? It could be self-talk that's preventing us from moving from thought to action. Our rational brain says you got to do this, and you can take action. It's very easy to take the action to get moving and doing this stuff, but there's some type of barrier, something that's preventing us from moving. And finding a way to break through that barrier. I think I remember you talking about this one lady who does a strategy, 5 4 3 2 1, and then you go, right, and you just do it, right. That's some type of strategy there. Now when you take the action, I think when you take that action, I believe everyone wants a reward, from that action, right? And I think it's
Yeah.
important to kind of analyze, what was the reward that we got from this action, and really kind of think about that reward. Because sometimes I think subconsciously, we kind of poo poo that reward. It's like, I didn't get that much out of it. It wasn't that great. It's like, oh, I ran around the block. It's like, oh, I just got myself tired. I still have this weight or whatever. I'm still out of shape. And if I kind of like focus on that, not so much that, look, this is the good job that I did. This is the reward. I was able to do what I told myself I would do. Focus on, the benefit of that reward. I'm creating
Yeah.
that reward in my mind, and that creates that kind of loop, right? We need something to continue, that feedback loop, right? That reward has to be strong enough to help us continue, you know because how do we get to our goal? We have to develop a good consistent set of habits, right? Just constantly doing it over and over and over again, right? I think that reward has to be strong enough, and we have to develop in our mind, you know the significance of what we do in that action. It might have been like something very insignificant, right? I mean, you made it through the day without gambling or something like that. It's like, oh, big deal, I'm still in $10,000 of debt or whatever, but focus on that. I accomplished this. Look, I didn't
Yeah.
spend any money today. That's great. And you got to kind of like, it's like a little flame, right? A little spark, and you kind of try to create it into a bigger fire, right? That fire will hopefully propel you to get into that loop again, over and over and over again.
But what happens is when people start stoking that little fire, it goes out. And, as soon as before it goes out, even if it's just, you're hanging on, you relight it.
Hmm.
Because when you let it go out completely, it's almost impossible for some people to restart it.
Hmm.
Some people give up, and the goal is to keep that thing, to keep the flame, whatever it is that you start. Because, I remember when I first started changing, man, I had some really crappy, I had some bad stinking thinking going on. I had, my thoughts were um, basically almost like strictly survival mode without really thinking about people. So you're almost like a robot. You're functioning, but there's no real emotion. There's no, and so I didn't know if I was going to make it through. All I know was is I kept hearing from again from the Bible. I was listening to transformational stories. I would pay attention to people like Napoleon Hill and all of these individuals as I was trying to transition, and I doubted myself. I heavily doubted myself because of what I had been through, because of the damage that I have uh, in my mind is very deep. There's times that I struggle. It's weird. 55 years later, and there's times that I still struggle with things that happened to me while I was, at 5 and 6 years of age. How in the world do you have any control what happened to you at 7 years of age? And yet, 55 years later, it could be a focus thief of what happened back there, could be a focus thief and rob you of your focus today. And that was happening to me many times over until I clinged on enough to realize, wait a minute, I'm starting to feel some change. I'm starting to feel a belief in myself again. I'm starting to feel a confidence in myself, like I can do something with my life and I don't have to stay here, regardless of my problems, regardless of my insecurities, regardless of my addictions, because we all have some kind of an addiction or another. You press through, you press through, you press through, you keep going. Never mind everybody else. Again, we're talking about these thieves. People, we mentioned this, you've talked about this, we've talked about this comparison. Another major thief. You compare yourself to somebody else, you compare yourself to what they have, what they don't have. This person, whatever it may be. Man, you just dropped yourself to the floor, to the ground. And you ain't even on the floor. You're below the floor. You're on the ground. You're on the dirt because you've lost your focus, man. And Jim, for me, I know it gets tough every single day. It gets difficult, but you have to keep going. You have to keep that fire, that little fire we talked about a few minutes ago. You got to keep that flame alive.
Yeah, one of my problems that I deal with is, you know, getting that kind of excitement of when you do actually reach a goal or change. It is fire. That's something that I struggle with because if I do achieve something in my life, I kind of I don't give it that much thought or like applause, just because I tell myself, well, that's just normal. You should have been there already, or you should have been higher. You should have you should yeah, that's what's expected of you. So I mean, it's almost like I'm not celebrating that accomplishment, and that's important. I
Yeah,
think, it's that excitement because that's that extra fuel, that fire to go and keep going and keep pushing, because and I think that can be developed, I think. And that's where the self-talk has to come in, those you talk about the focus thieves, right? I'm saying to myself, oh, that's not such a big deal. Oh yeah, well, yeah, you did it, but it's just that's just normal. That's normal. Focus thief, right? Focus thief. Instead of giving myself, the applause, it's like good job, getting excited. I mean,
yeah,
I know myself. Sometimes I get more excited for other people's accomplishments than myself. It's kind of weird, It's kind of weird. It's like, how come you're not getting excited for yourself, when you move up or reach a goal, it's odd, and that's a challenge that I have to work on.
well, it could be, these challenges, these are good things. They could be good things, right? They're indicating uh, something in our life to make us stronger. Um, we all have the thing is that we all have all of these issues that we must overcome and be aware of the focus. Now, let me ask you a couple questions here again. Do you feel secure in your personal focus on the other side? After listening to this broadcast so far today, we're going to be coming, we've got 33 minutes into this broadcast. Do you feel secure in your personal focus? Do you feel secure in your personal focus? You talked about those three things. Let me go back there. Fear. Did you mention relationships on that one? By the way, if you have a question, feel free to stop and ask. If you don't get a chance to ask your question, you can send it to the link right below. If you can see my screen right below, you can send it to SciTech. I will respond within 24 hours or less. Um,
Yeah, Santos, you were talking about, do you feel comfortable in your personal focus? It's like, I think it's important to kind of really be truthful to yourself. And what is your real personal focus? Be honest with myself. Like, the comfort zone is my personal focus, safety, feeling, safe, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to have those good feelings, whatever. That's my focus. That's my subconscious
is
focus.
that survival? Is
That's the
that
survival thing that's being you were talking about, when you were going through the hard times, right? You're in this kind of like box, right? Like a robot, right? Your
yeah?
whole life, your actions, etc., thinking was built around this safe focus, a safety zone, right? It's like, how can I protect myself as much as possible, feel good as much as possible? You know, I don't want to. I don't want any pain in my life. I don't want any pain. No pain. No pain. I don't want discomfort. Right. And it's like, oh yeah, I want to reach my goals. Yeah, I want to, achieve all my goals. Like, well, is that true? Really think about your actions. I mean, you can really tell, what is your personal focus based upon all the things you do. And then it's like,
Yeah.
I'm just escaping to the comfort zone, you know?
Yeah, that's scary right there, what you just said. When you look at your life, right? If you look at your life individually, and then you look at those, if you're honest with yourself, most people sadly are not going to do this.
Yeah.
It's very frightening what you see. In some things you can't readily get away from. There are some situations in life that you have to work through. You're going to have to build your way out of it. Um, there's two brains. There's the subconscious thinking, and then there's the subconscious, and then there's the conscious thinking, right? It's like we talk about we have one brain, but it's really two brains. And most of the time we're not even aware that we're operating uh, unconsciously. We're not aware. The more that we become aware, the better you become as a human being. The better you become as a human being. The more conscious that you're aware that you've got two brains going on. And
Yeah.
one of them, what, yeah, one of them can, even your own brain could be a thief, a focus thief to you, because your own brain could be focusing on things that you don't need to be focusing on. So we have to be able to transform. We have to be able to upgrade, optimize, and
I think a good word, Santos, you know, uh, to bring those two brains together is metacognition, right? What is metacognition? That's just thinking about thinking, being conscious of your thoughts that are streaming through your mind. And that's something I'm working on. It's like
yeah,
there's so much nonsense that goes through my mind. It's like, come on, stop. Let's kind of focus on, your
yeah,
goals. Let's focus on, it's like, what are these thoughts? Okay. All right. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to think, you know, being, intentional about thinking about, what you're thinking about how you feel, and then you start kind of like, uncovering, shining the light on what's really going on in your life. Where are you really focused? Where are you, why are you acting the way you're acting? Why are you feeling the way you're feeling? Start asking those questions by thinking about your thinking. All the time we're just in, like, the we're just in a zone sometimes, going to work, dealing with family,
like
just
robots.
yeah, robots, exactly. Sucking in all the media, right? Just sucking
Yeah,
it in, and just constantly
yeah,
listening to that stuff. You Santos, you talked about how you intentionally chose to listen to all these, improvement speakers, reading those books, feeding the mind, right, of positive kinds of things, man. If we don't, take a stand and choose to, choose the kind of information that we're going to be absorbing all the time, man, you know, we're going to be in trouble, man. We're going to be living in this state of fear. What is that? They're talking about mass psychosis or something like that, where the media is just feeding all this, stuff into the population, and they're getting freaked out and afraid, and they'll just do whatever they want, or what the
yeah,
powers want. It's
yeah,
just, that's, I mean, they keep on getting bombarded and bombarded with all this, information, with a particular purpose, and man, you can really mess yourself up, and it can even be your family members, the friends you hang around with, right? Being conscious of, it's like, are the people around me helping me or hurting me? It's like, what am I listening to? What am I, how's this helping me? How's it making me feel? I'm
yeah,
speaking very negatively. I seems like I'm always negative. Well, why am I always speaking negative? Maybe it's because I keep on listening to these doomers and gloomers on YouTube, It's like, oh, the world's going to collapse. Oh, this, oh, that, And it's like, it's taking my focus thief. It's a focus thief, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the world in many ways is,
Yeah.
it's advancing. The world is advancing and collapsing at the same time. So it's
Yeah.
like black. It's like black and white, right? Negative and positive. If the world wasn't collapsing, it wouldn't be advancing. There's no way to tell that it would be advancing. If it was just advancing, you wouldn't tell that there would be collapse. So you got to have a mixture of both. It's really strange. But the what I was going to say is here, speaking about these things, is in fact, what would it take for you to stop gambling? Is there an answer to satisfy you to stop gambling? What will it take? Well, ultimately, you have to be willing to support yourself, um, because you're by yourself. Ultimately, you are by yourself. No one's going to be there to really say, "Hey, you got to do this." It has to be an inner voice. We talked about the self-talk, one of the third thieves, right? One of them. If your self-talk is, I gotta stop doing something, or I should, I should. I gambled, you know, 6 months in a row and lost several thousands of dollars. I should quit, man. I really should quit. I know that. I know I'm gonna quit. I'm going to, or no, it's I am. I'm gonna do it now. You have to speak as though it's already done. You have to convince yourself, because either that something's convincing you to go in the wrong direction. Something is taking your focus. It's advertisement. It's a friend that shows up with money all the time. Happy-go-lucky people, I call them. They're always bouncing around. They have money. They got nothing more to do just to go into the casinos and do all these things that they want to do, and they'll call you to tag along. So, again, you have to be determined, and it's the greatest thing it's the greatest thing inside when you know that you're overcoming these evil forces, these evil things that are trying to control you from outside of yourself or from within. It's a really neat satisfaction. It's a pleasure, it's a challenge. It's I don't know, call it emotional addiction, if you will. Emotional addiction to overcoming these things that show up, because eventually you do look for problems, because that's where you find you're alive, you're challenged. Oh man, I got another problem, an opportunity. Boom, you start waking up, your creativity expands and all these kinds of things. But when everything is going well, your creativity's low. You're just going with the flow, right? You're not even thinking. But when problem hits, that's the time where everything should have, like the cavemen. I imagine when the monster, whatever it was that came around the cave or something like that, they would get excited, right? They had to get animated and they could get excited, pull the spear out or whatever, get ready for a fight, man, until the death. Well, those were things that were that's what kept people on their toes. Those problems, those challenges. So we have a bunch of things that are in front of us today. A lot of thieves. There's a lot of thieves, focused thieves, and the more familiar we become with them, the better off we will be. The happier I believe we will be in this world. Uh, can you be happy all the time? It's a matter of personal decision. You know, I ask myself that. I don't know if you ever ask yourself that. I'm going through something real difficult, and I ask myself, man, you're not really depressed. You're not. It is what it is. You just you look at the situation and you say, man, I got to master. I got to blast through this thing. I have to blast through this thing. So we've tackled on this topic, and Jim has shared. So I got another question here. If you improved in this area, in how would it impact you in other areas in a positive way? If you improved in this area of identifying your focus, thieves, and knowing them very well, how would it positively impact other areas of your life? Not just focus. How would it impact other areas of your life? Something to think about. Anyways, that's my last question. We're almost at the end of the broadcast. I'm going to give Jim some time to expound on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
it's like imagining. It's like once again, I go back to the idea of peace. It's like if I mean Emily. It's like how would you feel when you can pay your rent on time, or you can see like $10,000 in the bank? How does that feel? How does it feel when you have enough money? If a car breaks down, you get a flat tire, no problem, because I have money to cover that. It's like I have peace. You know, it's like, and then you kind of weigh, a lot of things. You put in the conscious mind. Okay, money in the bank. I have money. I have money saved. I can take care of myself and my loved ones. Right? I can do that. On the other side, oh, it's like maybe I can go and gamble. And like have a good time. You know, and then he says, well, you could do that, but you lose all your money. No money. No money for bills. Landlord's angry at you. Families depending upon you. No money. I mean, imagine that anxiety. Imagine the tears. Remember when you were crying? It's like, I don't want this. This smells bad, right, Santos? This stinks. This
Exactly.
stinks. I want this. I want this peace. I want peace. And
Hallelujah.
if you can visualize that, right? It's like once again, you're imagining these emotions, right? You're imagining. You say, you know what? Forget that casino. Forget that stuff. It's it feels horrible. I remember that stuff. It just feels horrible. Now, if you feel some of these other emotions that are creeping up that are drawing you to that place, that negative place, start asking yourself why why am I being attracted over here? What's messing me up? That I know you know that financial peace is better, but what's drawing me over here? you know think about, start getting those ideas, you know and then head it off at the pass. Head off the pass. Understand why you're being drawn. It's like sometimes we're just subconsciously just, being affected by our emotions. We don't think about it, and it just takes us, by default to the
Another
negative place.
focus thief.
Yeah, right. So stop, think. Who's doing this to me? Why am my buttons being pushed that I'm being drawn to the comfort zone? You know, I already found out that this sucks. This stinks. This smells bad. You know, this is better, but I'm being drawn. Why? And then you start thinking, you start getting these ideas, you start figuring out, oh my God, this is the reason why. This is the reason why I'm being drawn over here. My freaking relationships, man. The way I feel about myself, my boss, my work, stressing me out, It's like, how do I deal with this? Because I don't want it to drag me over here because it's ruining my life, you know?
Yeah, the
And yeah,
focus is off again on these individuals. Our focus is off. Our focus is off in many areas of our life if we're not paying attention to these areas. But we are paying attention to certain areas. So we're focused in certain areas, but there's other areas that are not, and that's where we get hit sometimes. In fact, I made a short video on TikTok speaking about that. Well, you have to absolutely be, when you step out of your home, especially when you step out of your home and you're getting in your car, you have to absolutely be consciously awake. Period. Awake. Awake of your surroundings, awake of what's going on in your head. Anytime you step out there, you better be focused, because if not, um, you see some of the weirdest things happening out there. People doing some really strange things that you didn't see them doing it before. Now, I'm going to get ready to call to action here in a minute or two, but I want to share this with you. First of all, I want to say that I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert on your life. I'm not an expert on anybody's life. I'm only an expert in my own life. Uh, What I would recommend here is to try and probe deeper on questions presented during the podcast, right? Try and probe deeper on questions presented. This is, um, I've shared with you how I do things. Jim has shared, and a few of you guys here in the comments have shared a little bit. You've asked some questions. Hopefully, again, this is a place where you can come and draw strength for Monday, for Tuesday, because it's going to get difficult. It's going to get challenging. It is. It's just the way it is out there. You need to adjust to make it happen for yourself. That's the goal, right? Prioritize if necessary starting on Monday. Here's my call to action. Prioritize if necessary starting on Monday. Okay. Get a help, get a support system if necessary. If you don't have a support system, get one, find one, make something happen. You wait till both of your legs are broken to change direction? Until my next Sunday, make it a super fantastic, terrific, over the top day. In spite of and because of, we're going to be back here at 7 p.m. Who knows what topic we'll be discussing? Bring your question, bring a pen, bring your notepad, whatever, so that you can record your notes. Not me. I don't want you to record me. Record your notes. What comes to your mind that's important to you? What idea, what creativity, what step comes alive in your mind during this podcast that you can uh, refine and adjust and take advantage of for your journey going forward? That's all I have, Jim. You want to share some last words before we go?
Yeah,
Thank you for
just
hanging
like
out.
you said, focus. Just I would say just focus on how can I create positive peace in my life? How can I create positive peace? Keep on asking that focused question right there. What can I do? What are the things I can do to keep to bring about positive peace in my life? And just keep on thinking about those things, and always be focused on that and be focused on your emotions. Be conscious of that, and be conscious of your thoughts, and just go back to that idea. Life is tough, but life is worth it. You know, and just keep your focus no matter what. Don't stop.
Be aware of the focus leads.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay. One more question, if I may. And thanks for hanging out, Jim, out of Tucson, Arizona. Jim specializes in exercise, motorbikes.
Yeah.
Motorbikes. So if anybody's interested in a motorbike, or if you know someone that's interested in a motorbike, they're cool, and they will save you a little gas in these days.
A little
Uh,
bit.
there's Jim. Hit him up. Jim will definitely do his best to take care of you. And I'm here to support anyone that wants support. If you need support, you need some extra support, there's something going on in your life, and you are willing to take action. You're willing to take action. I'm here for you. There's the email. Any more questions? Going once, going twice? Let me see. I'll wait another second. Hopefully, Hamo, you know, hopefully you've gotten something out of this broadcast, because imagine another month. You know, I can't see it, brother. Yep. All right, Jim. Well, it looks like we've had a little bit of an audience today. I'm very grateful. Once again, thankful to Facebook out there. I don't know who's watching on Facebook today. LinkedIn. Thank you, LinkedIn, for allowing me to podcast live. And once again on YouTube. So with that said, I'll see you at the top on the inside on my next one, making every day super fantastic, terrific, and over the top, in spite of and because of.
Thanks, Santos. Have a
All
good
right,
week.
Jim.
Take care. Bye
You
bye.
too, brother. Bye, everybody.